G'day YouTube, how's everyone? Today, I just dropped my son off at Jiu-Jitsu and thought I'd make a video. And today's video is going to be based on why teenagers should participate in combat sports and some really good reasons why. And I'm going to talk about that. But before I do that, I'm just going to pan over to the distance so you get a feel of what type of day it is. Let's have a look at that. Just get up that. So as you can see, great day up here in the tropics. It's going to be a warm one, really warm. Can feel that sun burning me now, but nevertheless, it's a really good day. Okay, so let's get into that. So as I said, today I'm going to be talking about why combat sports are really important for So off I go, heading into town. Well, I've got this hour to sort of kill while he's at Jiu-Jitsu. He does Jiu-Jitsu and kickboxing. He's been into it off and on for years and years. I put him into it Jiu-Jitsu when he was about 7 years of age, when I was living on the Gold Coast, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He did that for a few years. Also played league, contact sport, really important for especially boys. Also girls played league in Australia too. Both genders, very important. And then he's done he's done wrestling, boxing, and sort of in and out of both of those sports. And and that's what kids do. Kids go in and out of sports, result of their mates, what their mates are doing at the time, or what the trend is doing at the time. But he's been doing kickboxing and jiu-jitsu probably for the last, back into it again, I should say, in the last 6 to 9 months, I reckon. He went over to Thailand, did a camp over there when he went back to Vietnam for a holiday. And when he come back a different person, because he was around, being into these sports, you're around like-minded people, so that enthusiasm rubs off. You make friends. So there's the first point, making friends. So these sports, besides the other points I will mention, and the benefits of combat sports for teenagers, be that both girls and boys, is making friendships, connecting with people who are like-minded. My kids ride into a lot of other kids, MMA, mixed martial arts, and he's always watching those fights every Sunday that we get, broadcasted through the various platforms around the world. So he's right into that. So again, it gives him an interest too. So there's another point before I really get into the nuts and bolts of why combat sports are really important. If you can get your kids into combat sports, of course, and why they're important and why it's good to sort of push them to an extent to keeping to those sports, because of obviously the health benefits, the mental health benefits, the physical health benefits that you get from doing any particular sport. But with this particular sport, there are other benefits, i.e. self-defense. So they learn self-defense, and then as a result of that, they get super confident. When my kid come back from Thailand, he come back a different person. He's gone for a few weeks, of course, but that training camp in Phuket, around that area, really changed him. It really sort of humbled him a bit, but it also meant, it toughened him up mentally. And I could see that when he come back, he'd sort of grown as a person, because not only is travel fantastic for teenagers, if you can get your kids if you're in that position where you can take your kids overseas, because my kid was born overseas, and that in itself. But then you throw in, I should say, activities that that benefit them more than you, because when you head overseas, a lot of you cart your kids around, or your teenagers around, and you're looking at sites they're not really interested in. And when my wife went back with my kid, I told her, he's not going to be interested in half the stuff you're interested in, and it is what it is. So put him into a camp. You can do what you want to do. Go on, you know, she had a few things that she needed to do over there too, training things. So, you know, it sort of, it pleased both parties. And that's, you know, if you can do that, especially with your teenagers, and put them in something they really enjoy and they're enthusiastic about, they'll get a lot out of it. And of course, they'll bring back, in most cases, a much better attitude. And also, the next point, it gives them an outlet to channel their energy and maybe their frustrations. You know, the old expression, let off some steam. So that's really important for teenage boys, also girls. You know, it works for both genders, especially when they're growing up, to be able to let off some steam, especially in you know, in Australia. It's become really nannified, where, you know, these teenagers and kids, unless they're, you know, in a sporting organisation, like, playing soccer, rugby league, rugby union, you know, and other sports, you know, martial arts sports, combat sports, which is what I'm talking about at the moment, of course. They're sort of they're not pushed no more. The teachers, they're fully, in my case, they work under a framework. Their hands are tied. It's a woke framework. We know that. I'm not going to bang on about woke, but it's under that framework where they're all wrapped in cotton wool, and then you get your end result when they're 18. And you can see that with what social media has done. You know, social media is both, you know, as we know, positive and negative, and I know, you know, we all know that already. But with our teenagers, and they're high school, you know, they're not pushed enough. They're not, in this country I'm talking about, and other countries such as the US, the UK, etc. They do not create a hard edge for these kids. So they're very, in many cases, mentally soft as a result of the system and a result of bad parenting. You know, and in a lot of cases you can't blame the parenting, because it's been taken out of our hands. Now, I've had instances when my kid was at primary school where I've had to go up and had an interview with the teachers because my boy was playing, you know, a little bit rough, you know, like, i.e. kicked a soccer ball and hit someone in the head. And as a result of that, I had to go up and have a counselling session with the counsellor and the assistant principal. And it was just rubbish. It was just like, I just shook my head. I told them what my opinion was, but again, their hands are tied. I get that, and that's why I understand that. Although I totally disagree with it, but I respect those people in that position, because it's a bit tough for those people. Okay, so that's why I come back to, you know, combat sports, martial arts, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, or any type of combat sport where they get to learn a skill, they get to, you know, harden up mentally and physically. And that brings it into another point, the benefits of, you know, sparring a partner or multiple people. Again, that's another process of not only honing your skill or your skill level, but also hardening you up for other things that other things are going to face these kids in the future, because as we know, society's changed a lot, and it's not so easy like it used to be. But has it ever been easy, honestly? Write a comment below for the people with a bit of age on them, like I have. It's never been easy. It's just things have changed as a result of, you know, technology and other things that have happened since the pandemic, and it's happened before that anyway. So there are some real good benefits. I don't want to sort of harp on it too much. Keep this short, but those are the reasons, very simple reasons, I've always encouraged and pushed, to a certain extent, my kid into these sports. And if you get them young and you plant the seed, usually, in many cases, they will pursue some type of sport. I was lucky when I went to high school and I played league. You know, it's a physical sport in this country. And I was lucky because back in the day, we used to do and used to have wrestling as part of our PE, physical education subjects, as well as part of our training. Yeah, if you're an Australian, it was before the Melbourne Storm really got it, really implemented that into their training system. Yeah, it dates back a long time. It's not the NRL Melbourne Storm that brought that in. When I was playing league, our coach at the time, or coaches I should say, were right into wrestling. We used to have wrestling games. We used to do it at PE at primary school. Yeah, that's going back a long time, when the boys used to wrestle and allowed to wrestle and encouraged to wrestle. Hey, so we had that in the system in periods of my schooling system. Wrestling, of course, fighting was never encouraged, but we had the schoolyard fights, and they usually used to be sorted out anyway, because they were always one-on-one. Again, I'm not encouraging that stuff. That's based on bullying, which I'm absolutely against. And let's look at another point. Let's talk about bullying quite quickly. This, the practice that is of combat sports, martial arts. I really suggest you do kickboxing or jiu-jitsu when you are faced with adversity, when you got to practice and fight multiple people, because that's going to give you the hard edge, which I've mentioned. But it gives you that confidence when, if ever, and it happens, my kid gave me a story not long ago, when he was bullied at school, it's really going to make the bully think of about bullying a person that has that skill and that experience with combat sports. Anyway, I'll kill that one there. I'm just about in town. I want to keep these short, like I promised people. So I hope that sort of helps you think about, and that you can just, and this goes with adults too, joining jiu-jitsu, joining judo, karate, kickboxing, etc. It's really taken off in this country as well as around the world. It's great. It's great for fitness. Ladies are into it now because they get a great workout. So anyway, do all those good things if you enjoy this sort of stuff, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.